Hey guys, it's Matt Haycox here, and today we're going to talk about how to name your business, or perhaps more importantly, how not to name your business. Now, I regularly get messages from people who say the inability for them to name their business is actually stopping them making money. So let's try and cure that problem today. Now, when you've got a name for your business, it's very difficult to change it in the future. So it's really important that you put the effort in at the beginning so you don't have problems further down the line. Think of all those kids at school who had terrible names and had a lifetime of abuse. You don't want that to be your business. You need to think of your business's name and its brand as the foundations upon which everything's built upon. And if you don't get that right, then everything else can topple down in the future. But first off, let's start with some don'ts. Don't go to committee when it comes to naming your business. As with most things in life, if you ask the opinions of 20 different people, you're going to get 20 different answers. And invariably, those people are probably not the people whose opinion counts. So if you are going to go and ask the opinions of other people, make sure these are key personnel within your business or key parties who are going to be able to give you a credible answer. When you go to committee, one of two things are probably going to happen. You're going to ask 20 different people for their opinions. You're going to pick one of those names and then risk alienating 19 of the other people. Or you're going to find a name that all 20 people like, which probably means it's too vanilla a name and actually probably isn't the name that you want for your business anyway. Now, another don't when naming your business is not to use plain or generic words. This may work when you're the first in a category, but as categories get more and more saturated, it becomes harder and harder for you to stand out. Words like general, for example. This may work if you're General Motors or General Electric, but would anyone really have remembered Yahoo if it was called generalinternetdirectory.com? Now, another don't is to not use words which could pigeonhole you in the future, words which could end up stifling your growth. Quite often, these are geographic-based terms. It may work in the early days of your business to be called, for example, Yorkshire Finance Company, but as you grow and time goes on, is that really going to make you sound like the global player that you desire to be? Even one of my personal favourites, Kentucky Fried Chicken, had to rebrand as KFC at some point. Don't get too clever or obscure when it comes to coming up with a name for your business. You may know who the Greek god of customer service is, or you may know what the Latin word for recruitment is, but if nobody else does, it's going to make it hard to understand and hard to remember. And this is even more important when it comes to trying to appeal to a mass audience. Now, another thing you need to remember when naming your business is that undoubtedly you're going to need a domain name for your internet presence. And it's getting tougher and tougher to find unused and clean domain names that can match the name of your trading style or your limited company. Now, whilst talking about domain names, it's important that you can make it as easy as possible for customers to find you on the internet. So try, when naming your business, to avoid making clever spellings of things, PH instead of F, or Ks instead of Qs, for example. People are going to type it in wrong, and it's going to make it more difficult for you to get found online. It's important to research domain names as early as possible when naming your business. You don't want to make the mistake of naming a business and then finding out that somebody else already has a domain name that you need. For any of you that remember the fashion brand Nasty Gal, founded by the entrepreneur Sophia Amoruso, she actually traded as Nasty Gal for a couple of years before trying to buy the domain name and finding out that it was already owned by a porn site. Don't let that happen to you. Now, when coming up with a name for your business, try not to invent words. That's not to say this can't work. And like many of the examples I've given in this video, there's always exceptions to every rule, but I'm trying to give you a framework here that's going to make things simpler for you. The problem with using words that have no linguistic or intrinsic meaning is that you have to rely heavily upon advertising to get customers to know and remember you. And if you don't have deep pockets from the outset, then this could be a problem. Don't use names which are too long or complicated either. You're going to need a domain name. You're going to need a website, you're going to need an email, and anything that's long or complicated for people to understand and remember is going to make it easier to get misspelt and harder for people to find you. Now, a strategy that a lot of people default to when naming the business is to use their own name. Now, there's nothing wrong with this as long as it's used under the right circumstances, but make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and not just for one of ego. Think of McDonald's, for example, originally named after the McDonald's brothers. Back then, and even today, McDonald's has that feeling of the real all-American name. But would it really have worked if Ray Kroc had renamed it Crocs? So there you have it, some strategies for how to name or how not to name your business. Now, like with most of the advice I give you, it's not guaranteed do's and don'ts, it's strategies, it's framework to get you guys thinking and trying to make your own decisions. Hopefully, listening to the points in this video and applying some good thought process yourself, you're going to end up coming up with a name for your business which is going to stand the test of time. But if you do find out that you've made a mistake and you've named your business wrong, or maybe in the future you've just outgrown it, don't be so stubborn as to not change it, and remember that these things aren't set in stone. I hope you like this video, guys. If you did, be sure to press like and also press subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos like this and lots of interviews with entrepreneurs, business leaders and other inspiring characters. I'll see you again soon.